Hey everybody, this is Rydo and we're back to another recording of MTG Arena. Today is Friday, November 15th. We're here back to basics, just playing standard, and honestly I probably shouldn't even be playing standard. I should just be playing regular play mode and trying to attack with creatures, and then that will be that. I was trying the default red deck. I'm going to just go back to the default black deck, which has been the deck that I've succeeded the most with, or the color I've succeeded the most with. Is I looked at the statistics, and for the small amount of games that I played all the default decks with, I won more often. Now, this might be false information. It literally might be a case of I was just so low in ranked at that point when I was playing the default decks. Of course I won more often. Or it might be that I just built all of my new decks worse than the default decks were built, which also might be a possibility. So we'll check that out. Otherwise, we just have some games and maybe a little bit of news to talk about, and then that's going to be the end of this stream, pretty much. There's not too much more to even do on this kind of... I wouldn't even call this a sleepy Friday for me. I'm pretty wide awake. But, yeah. I always say it, if I can find an extra 5 minutes to record an extra 30 minutes to an hour to record a new episode of the pre-recorded footage, I would love to have that happen. Of course, that very rarely actually does happen. He actually did kill that guy for that reason. If I had had one more mana, I could have done something different there. And should have done something different there. It's funny how these things seem to order. It's not in an alphabetical order or anything like that. You can't move these characters around. So how does it decide who goes where? Let's see, this one has 1 attack, 2 health. This one has 3 attack, 4 health. This one has 2 attack, 1 health. This one has flying. So this is probably the best card. Is it just the best cards are in the middle? And the best defenders are on the left, and the best attackers otherwise are on the right. And none of it makes any sense. Get rid of that guy. And then all attack. Alright, so we have a game on Steam here called Cube Creator X, which is just a Minecraft clone by the looks of it, with maybe some more focus on being more of a adventure. Honestly, compared to most Minecraft clones, this doesn't look too bad. Seems like this also has some platforming elements. It feels a little bit more RPG-ish. Yeah, I've seen a lot more low-effort Minecraft clones than this. It still is a Minecraft clone. Like, the fact that you're going QB is unnecessary. You could have just made a game that played a lot like Minecraft, which then would just be kind of an open world, infinitely generating adventure game, and not stolen the art style and the interface style of Minecraft and barely changed it. This is $19.99, single player with online, 2, bunch of Asian languages and English. Yep, and it looks like there's actually characters that will talk to you and have some dialogue. What's funny is that even though this is a low effort clone, it's actually a medium effort clone. Even though this is a clone, though, it goes to show that there are some improvements that if they just started over with Minecraft, you would see added almost certainly. Like slides. There are no slides in Minecraft. There's no reason why that shouldn't be the case. So, and this guy has like magic wands. Yeah, there's definitely some improvements that could have been done. Parachutes, for instance. But yeah, still not going on the fault list. Minecraft was really a flash in the pan game, and if you objectively look at what Minecraft is, most people would not want to play it. It just got a generation of young kids interested in playing it, and once a generation generally once is obsessed with something, it becomes super popular. Same could be said for Fortnite. Like, Fortnite's not really doing anything too different from what PUBG is doing, yet nobody is talking about PUBG anymore. They're all talking about Fortnite, if they're talking about either one of those games. Moving on, Gamatsu has an article, Daemon Ex Machina free collaboration DLC Eureka 7 set launches November 14th. What's funny here is, unless there's been a manga of Eureka 7 continuing on, I don't believe there's been anything from Eureka 7 in a long time. And I would argue this guy does not look like the kid from Eureka 7, so maybe in the comic he's just gotten older and grown more. He looks somewhat similar to the guy, but he looks a lot taller and a lot older from what I recall. The Eureka 7 anime was rather popular and rather long running. I never really got into it and never really understood what its focus seemed to be. It seemed to kind of go all over the place. But I certainly could recognize you don't have a series go for, particularly an anime series, go for as long as Eureka 7 did without somebody liking it, or more than just the production company. Let's see. Alright, here. So on the trailer here, they're showing off the mech. Here's what the kid looked like when in the anime. Here's what he looks like now. Wearing like the same style clothing, yet way older. Which I don't feel like that was the way the game, or the way the show ended, or the anime ended. I thought they went to like a different universe and fell in love and just kind of lived their lives out forever, was I think the ending of Eureka 7, if I recall correctly. There's a female character that's not even being shown in this DLC. She's like some kind of alien or something. And then there was a bunch of orphans that they were taking care of, also being very young themselves. So that's just kind of a weird anime tie-in. A slightly less weird anime tie-in we have here from Gamatsu for the PC and PS4, Tokyo Ghoul Recall to Exist launch trailers out. And here you have the main character of Tokyo Ghoul, another anime I never got into, but I guess I could kind of say that's the case for a lot of them nowadays, or all of them nowadays. I have long since been a lapsed anime fan, and there's excuse me, there's probably no chance of me ever really getting back into the fandom. And if I was to get back into the fandom, I'd probably watch my old DVDs of things from the 80s, early 90s, and not watch anything new. On a rare occasion, I'll watch something on Netflix, but usually the Netflix anime are terrible. I did watch like Recreators on Amazon Prime, and I could jump into Amazon Prime and watch more, but I never really have any time for any of that. The Tokyo Ghoul anime probably does set up pretty nicely for a video game collaboration, just in the fact that that it is monsters fighting each other for the most part, so or as I understand it, so that would work fine. Now, do I want to attack right now? Not really. See, the trick here is you want to have 10 non-lands on the field, and that's by having a lot of health and bringing this guy down to 10 damage, 10 health or less, while being above 10 health yourself, and that's unlikely to really happen. So we do this, and we play this, and now we can play cards at the expense of our health. Until we hit a land, and at which point we are stymied after the first land, because you can only play one land per turn. Next, we have a game on Steam with a bunch of Asian characters called Princess Hit. This looks to me like it's the sexual continuity version of Angry Birds. Like, these princesses are getting in a cannon and being shot, which is strange, to say the least, but it really is also kind of just a dumb concept trying to be sold. English is not supported. It's $1.67 discounted. It's Chinese only. No big surprise there. You would have been better, in my opinion, to not have have any of the adult content in here, and just have made a Angry Birds clone. That way you have more of an audience. Right, so I drew that first land, which means I need to play this, which means I need to play this, and when I played that, I killed myself. Yeah, that strategy does not work. Alright, so now we're really just going for victories. Let's open this pack. Got a wild card. Alright. I think even if the default is better, I don't think I care, honestly. I liked the decks I built. Do my decks need to be adjusted? Probably. Yes. Almost certainly. But I liked what I did, and I am kind of pot committed to this. So yeah, when we look at this, I have 20 lands. I should be at 28 lands. So let's look at this. Let's look at this deal and add 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm gonna just go with 4, and let's see how hard it is to get rid of 4 things that really don't work too well in this deck. I don't think that works particularly well. Get rid of that. Okay, that was 4. If I was to get rid of this and this, that would be 3 more. And let's get rid of one of these. And then add back witches' cottages. And should I get rid of Fable Passage? I think I want to actually do that. Just have more swamps. There we go. I could have more health things here. 2. Like more of the special black combo health cards would probably be better. Or did I take those out for a specific reason? Maybe I took them out for a specific reason. Now we have 27 lands. And 1 is a human, 1 is a noble, 3 a rogue, and then 21 a vampire, 3 instant spells, 3 sorcery spells, and 6 artifact spells. Yeah. That looks like that's a improvement. Let's try this and let's see what we can do. Moving on, we have a Gamatsu article, Crimson Desert debut trailer coming to console and PC. This is from a company called Pearl Abyss. It's going to be an open world fantasy massive multiplayer game. So, yeah. Another massive MMO from a company I've never heard of. I would almost have to expect that a CD Projekt Red would have to be in charge if they were going to make a massive MMO that really succeeded. That being said, this actually looks really good. Like, if they can really make the game look like this, you might be able to bring in enough people. But I also wouldn't be surprised if even a really fancy looking MMORPG doesn't go anywhere, because there's been just far too many Chinese MMORPGs that look really nice and then kind of don't do anything. So people may be very wary of something of MMORPGs, and I'm not sure how many people even really want to play MMORPGs nowadays. Next we have an article here from Gamatsu. Microsoft and Rare announced Everwild for Xbox One and PC. A new IP from the Sea of Thieves developers. Really? That's how you're gonna label Rare, as the Sea of Thieves developers? I guess that's probably more accurate than anything else, because most of the talent that was at Rare that would have made Conquest Bad Fur Day or Banjo-Kazooie or Killer Instinct or any of those games, they probably are all left. So maybe Sea of Thieves is their most recent game, so it is fair to point that out. Jumping around here, this looks like this might be an interesting fantasy kind of stealth game. have to play over here, or they're going to punish me severely. Do I want to attack? Sure. You decide whether you want to let me die or not. From this trailer, though, it's cool looking. It's got a nice little, like, cel-shaded animation to it. But we have no idea what the game really is. And considering how bad Sea of Thieves was, as just a game that completely lacked content or focus, I think it's important to take anything like that with a grain of salt. Anything from Microsoft and anything from Rare. Because yeah, it could be total garbage. Let's see. TechRaptor has an article here. The Witcher 3 Game Pass announcement made via a Twitch ad, which, okay. What does that mean? So, if you have Xbox Game Pass, you'll get The Witcher 3. I don't know if it was intentionally supposed to be released during the Xbox ad, or if this was just a case of them accidentally announcing something early. I'm certainly in a weird position with The Witcher 3 because, like, I played the main game and that's pretty much all I think I'll ever experience. Like, I don't think I'm ever going to get around to playing the DLC. All attack. And we're winning here just by good cards. We're not really trying to play any crazy synergy. That might be the problem that I've run into, is that I built all my decks expecting to play these 5-card combinations, when in actuality, because you only have 20 health, if you just play good value cards turn for turn, you probably will be fine. See, if you blocked this card, that would probably be the best one to do. But he didn't. He blocked a different card. And if I have nothing to do, I can just cast this next turn, I think. Maybe not. I may still be 1 mana short. Allegedly, 7 mana is the maximum cost of anything in Magic.
We should all strive for a peaceful resolution.
I could bring back anything I want with this, but I think that's 7 too. TechRaptor has an article here. Bleeding Edge release date leaked by the Microsoft Store.
Will win the day.
Bleeding Edge being a weird looking game. That's pretty much all I can say. It seems like it's some kind of fighting game. Maybe not a fighting game, as a player hero shooter style game. Looks crazy, but clearly I'm gonna need more info. Bring out another flying guy. And then attack with this. Here. Attack with... No, don't attack with this. Attack with this. And attack with this. And... you want to block. That'll be fine by me. Because anything you block and kill just triggers this ability. Then I think just next turn, unless he heals quite a bit, I probably win. Next we have a game on Steam, Black Sat Under the Skin. This is that Black Panther cat RPG. Apparently it's tagged with nudity. I wasn't really expecting that. Noir detective adventure game. Kind of like a point and click adventure if you were going to make a modern point and click adventure game. It's had my attention, but at $30.99 it's gonna have to be reviewed very well, and it is mostly positive right now, but I'm just willing to put it on the fall list. It has full audio of English and several other languages with the exception of Italian. It's rated M for mature. I would have a slight concern that this is a story that just kind of ends on a cliffhanger, so that there is another Black Sad game in development. Not sure if that's really the way it's going to end, but that would be one of my concerns. So if I use this ability, then I think I win more than playing this. So like just attack here, and I'm fine. Like, yeah, I don't even need to attack anymore. He has to block these two. If he blocks anything, these two die. As soon as these two die, this activates and I win. Nice precision, good value cards. So was that a fluke, or is that what we're going to start seeing now? It is kind of crazy how we just keep getting cards. Like, I really wish Hearthstone was like this, where you could literally play 15 games each day and get at least one card. At least at that point, when I had quit playing Hearthstone 5 years in, I probably would have had most of the cards in the game. Although it does also open up the chance that Magic Arena is going to be like paper Magic, and they're just going to print hundreds upon hundreds of cards and devalue a lot of the old cards that get moved out of being playable. Yeah, Black Sad Under the Skin though. Yeah, it goes to the following list. We'll move on. It is the end of the year, and I guess that in a small part does open the door to a lot of people leaving their jobs. Although quitting your job or getting fired before Christmas happens. Leaving your job and quitting your job, not as much. Although, in all fairness, since the only ones that are going to get any reporting for leaving their jobs are going to be high-end CEOs and upper management, them leaving a job and taking all of the Christmas holiday off is not going to be a financially difficult thing for them to do, whereas an average employee, if they were fired during Christmas, would definitely struggle. And people struggle regardless. So the next story here we have from Gamasutra, John Carmack, who I believe worked on Doom. I think he was the other John. Is stepping down as the Oculus CTO to explore artificial intelligence. No big surprise here though. Like once Facebook purchased Oculus, it was doomed to failure, even from the word go, I would say. And I believe John Carmack was specifically one of the characters named in the lawsuit as having been accused of stealing things from ZeniMax. And ZeniMax, I don't know where that lawsuit ended up, if it ever even resolved itself. So, yeah, VR is not going anywhere. Now, artificial intelligence in the video game world probably also isn't really going to do anything. So I don't know what we can really expect from that. And more than likely, if he's going into artificial intelligence, then he's probably going to disappear from the public presence for quite a while. Like, doesn't seem believable. But see, I don't have any characters right now, so I can't play this spell. So I can just kind of attack. See, if I power this guy up, it's not going to do anything. In a lot of ways, older developers like John Carmack too aren't going to play any big role in the development of future games anyways, so like all of the big people of that time are going to be gone. See, it would just be wiser to kill this guy than it would be to kill this guy and then cast a spell to bring him back. And I don't think I really even need him because I'm probably going to win here. So how many people does that have on the field now? 1, 2, and 1, 1. So I can bring them back. Next we have an article here from Gamatsu. Hero Land adds a PC version. Launches December 3rd in the West. Hero Land looks like it is a flat pixel graphics RPG game. Let's see. Is there anything more in this trailer that would make me think it looks even the slightest bit interesting? I don't hate the cardboard on pixel graphics art style, but that certainly isn't good enough to make me want to play this game. Anyway, yeah, Hero Land looks pretty pathetic, and frankly I think I've seen some other games called Hero Land before, so it kind of feels like that name is such a generic name that's been used before. Yeah, and you can certainly see that there's probably not much interest in making your game particularly stand out because if you're not willing to even give it a special. Whenever your opponent draws, please. Okay, I'm gonna just decline this and play this and put this on the field. Must pay 2 mana. I probably could have paid 2 mana actually. That was dumb. That was really dumb on my part. Well, whatever. I think we have a victory here anyways. Even if it was pay to life, I still should have done it. 2 damage to target a blocking creature. Gamatsu has an article here. The Game Awards 2019 to air in 53 Cinemark feature locations. Tickets cost $20 and include Jumanji: The Next Level screening, which I guess means you get to watch a Jumanji movie. When is this actually airing? Because I think this probably already happened. It'll also be streamed live on YouTube, Twitch, and many other streaming platforms, so why you would specifically want to watch it in a movie theater is ridiculous. 12/12/19. So today is the 15th. This happened on the 12th, and it really happened with just a whimper. I saw that like one game got an award, and YouTube Gaming congratulated them, and that was it. So none of these video game awards events are particularly great, and alright, so resolve this and then auto pay that, and that would have been fine. Next, and then attack. And all I need to do is 2 more damage. Yep. It's a little too early to be doing a Game of the Year or Game Award show anyways. If anything, they should have the Game Awards shows right at the end of the year, or perhaps right near February or January when there is that lull. Since there's no new games to talk about that usually come out in January and February, having an award show celebrating games from the previous year would fill that gap pretty nicely, and it would still be pretty far away from E3 and any new announcements. Let's just resolve, and yeah, I can still just auto pay fine, and I can play this fine, and I can just attack you fine. Next, we have a game on Steam here called Terminator Resistance, which was rated very positively, which is funny because I don't think the Terminator most recent movie was rated very positively. Does this really have anything to do with the most recent movies, or any of the movies besides Terminator 1 and Terminator 2? Like, if you try to understand the story of Terminators, it's like Terminator 1 and Terminator 2 were made by, I think, John Carmack, and then every reboot after that was made by somebody else, and it was pretty terrible in the movie series, and every reboot ignored the previous reboots and only kept in canon, for the most part, Terminator 1 and Terminator 2. Alright, next. This guy could kill me. I'm just gonna wait. Because he can't really do anything. This guy's totally lost. He should have realized he lost several turns ago. But I guess he's just hoping that I'll get bored and leave. Terminator resistance here is $39.99. I'll put it on the follow list, but that is pretty expensive. English first person audio. Single player only, no multiplayer. Rated M. For sexual content, which is kind of weird. I don't recall there being too much of that in any of the movies, with the exception of Arnold being naked and when he first lands in the time machines. This guy has lifelink, and he's creating more guys with lifelink. So. Yeah, I don't know. I need all the mana, so I'm going to decline this turn and then play this. And now this can return creatures to the field, and well, these guys don't have flying, and this guy does. So yeah, a good Terminator game, something I would like, because otherwise you've got just kind of some of the Wolfenstein games being a little bit like that, with the robots walking around, and I don't think there really is too many other games that are close to a game where you'd have Terminators walking around. You have mechs walking around and such, but I wouldn't really say anything else. Auto pay, then auto pay again, and then do this, and then attack with this, and win. Which I don't know why he did that. Why he didn't block and stretch for one more game. Yeah, they're saying it's similar to BioShock Infinite. I guess BioShock Infinite did have the handyman, and then they're saying the Outer Worlds and Call of Duty and Doom Eternal and Fallout 4, I guess, kind of makes sense. Gears 5, Mass Effect 2, Wolfenstein 2, the new Colossus, Rage 2. It's just saying every AAA game is similar to Terminator Resistance. It's weird though, like $40 is not $60, so they know it's not a AAA game, but with it being very positively reviewed, it might be one of the handful of top tier games that came out this year that actually interests me. Because it's been kind of a sort of bad year, and for a lot of different reasons, frankly. More reasons than I think everybody would agree upon. In a funny way, I've gone backwards this year, losing Hearthstone, which is a game I've been committed to, due to all the terrible, divisive political actions that have been going on, and then the Epic Store has been a nightmare for just trying to get new games this year, with at least 4 or 5 AAA games being exclusive to the Epic Store, so not something I'm not willing to cover or play. And then you have games like Control that other people liked, but I didn't really enjoy. Moving on, we have a game on Steam called Fantastic Creatures, which looks like it's just a strategic placement game. It's turn-based, so it's not a real-time strategy game. There's nothing visually interesting here in any of these screenshots, though. They look very boring. $8.49, English only. That doesn't need to go on the follow list. Meanwhile, they figured out a way to kill my guy, and I'm not happy about that. So I'm going to instead attack with this, and attack with this. Well, I'm just going to attack with this one. And see if he wants to defend or not. Let's see. And again, we'll just attack with one and see what he wants to do. Although I guess I should be holding back and defending with the one. Come to think of it. Alright, well, let's do no bounce this time. Next we have a game on Steam called Zeta Life, which looks like it's probably a low effort RPG game or MMO. It's weirdly not framed in any standard framing. It's like some of these screenshots are widescreen, some of these are cropped. This is rated positively. It's a free-to-play RPG. It's early access. It's multiplayer only. It's English only. And it says it's E for everyone, which I kind of question a little bit. But, yep, it's a free-to-play game, and it's not a game I would play, so I'm not gonna be super interested in that. So I'm gonna hit one here, and that's gonna be it. Now I'm going to defend with this guy in the next turn, and then cast this as a sorcery spell, bringing back all the other people. He's like discarding a bunch of stuff. Alright, well, this works. So let's do it. All three of these back. And now attack. And now attack. You can block or not, and it doesn't matter. Now we've got a really buffed up flying creature. So as long as they can't just directly kill this creature, we should be cool. Alright. Undergrowth. Made 4. Murder. Gets rid of the trample. Or do we want to murder this guy? Here we go. So attack here, and attack here. So we have like full victory. Or we almost have full victory. Let's see. Gametsu has an article here for the PC and Xbox One. Microsoft and Obsidian Entertainment announced a survival game called Grounded for the Xbox One and PC, due out spring 2020. It seems like it's a game where it's Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, if I was to guess. Kids building things, kind of like a Fortnite clone with Honey, I Shrunk the Kids in it. Yeah, that's pretty much what I think this is. Although, I don't know if it's really Fortnite in the sense that you're fighting against kids versus kids, or maybe it's a group game fighting against a bunch of insects. Play. And what do we want to do? If we attacked here, he could defeat me, so all I need to do is get a bunch of things on the field now. 10 non-land creatures on the field before this guy can get above 10 health, and before I go below 11 health, and I'll win. That's all I have to do. That's still quite a lot that needs to be done, but seems like it's doable. This guy apparently can just sacrifice another creature to gain 1 life and draw a card. Interesting. So do I want to block something with Death Touch? Not really. Okay. We want to put this on the field. We want to just go ahead and use this. Get rid of that. And put that on the field. And put that on the field. And then play that. And then that's pretty much all I can do right now. But the good news is we can play this and destroy that. And then that just leaves this at a 0-0, which I think is fine. And a 1-1, so 2 attacks. And we go. See, Gamatsu has an article here. Halo the Master Chief Collection and Halo Reach launched December 3rd on Xbox One and PC. It's going to be hard for me to purchase Halo day one and try and cover that series. A lot like the Fear series, I don't think there's a lot of reason why I would want to go through that whole thing. Man, sacrifice something. Alright, well. Yeah. A lot like the Fear series, it's just asking a ton of decision making there to say I'm not gonna to try and play 4 or 5 games in a row, particularly when I kind of know where this is all gonna be headed. Right, so get rid of that and put that on the field, and then put that on the field and play that for free, and that's as much as I can do. Right. So question, do we have 10 non-lands? We have 3 here, 4, there's 7, 8, 9. I can't activate that ability yet, unfortunately. So we'll activate this, and activate this, and then who's attacking here? This guy's attacking, certainly. This guy's attacking, this guy's attacking. Are we attacking with these? I think we can. I think we can just do a full all attack and we'll win. And even if we don't win, we'll still win. I think fine. Although I haven't really run the numbers here. If he could take out this guy, actually, possibly, I would lose. But I don't know. Doesn't seem like there's much of a chance here, and he's certainly having to do a lot of math there to see if there's a chance. So let's see how this plays out. That gave him 5. And now 1, 2. That left him with exactly 1 health. And I'm at 20. And him playing this will just put a card from his graveyard on top of his deck. But there's not going to be any kind of game changer here. Although that might be the one card that would be the game changer, because it would summon a bunch of cards due to undergrowth. But he knows he's finished. And look at this, we're halfway up gold tier 4. So maybe my only major mistake at the moment was just a lack of mana. Yeah. Really goes to show how the land cards are really, really important. But honestly, I still hate it. If there was just a land deck with 7 to 14, maybe 15 land cards, and you once per turn turned over one of those land cards into the field, I would love to play Magic that way instead of having the land inside your regular deck, because it just adds too much randomness. Moving on, TechRaptor has an article here. Age of Empires 4 revives a classic franchise. They about a year ago re-released or put on Steam some of the older Age of Empires games, so it's not super surprising that that they're making a new Age of Empires game. You know, a real-time strategy game like this, it might be smarter just to jump in now and not do any retrospective look at the old games, or do just like a 30-minute spotlight of the old Age of Empires 1, 2, or 3 from my perspective, because like there's not really going to be too much to say that's different. You know Age of Empires 3 is going to be worse than Age of Empires 4. You know Age of Empires 2 is going to be slightly worse than Age of Empires 3. Since they're pretty iterative, and it's not like they are really telling a story as much as they're just having you play scenarios over and over again. I'm not ready to attack, so I'm not going to. It's really strange that there was this whole Microsoft exhibit thing that I did not hear anything about until it happened. Like, I've not been that out of the loop. That I've been following like Major Nelson and such, and he should have. I would have thought he would have mentioned that there was going to be an Xbox presentation in the same vein of a State of Play for Sony. Okay, we can attack here. Let's see. TechRaptor has an article. Drake Hollow serves up adorable creatures and spooky shadows, which It's a new game that have creature collection and survival elements. Let's see what this announcement there looks like. It's such a weird point. And it seems like a lot of companies are going with the cel-shaded graphics, inspired somewhat from Fortnite these days, more and more. Which, okay, that's weird. Maybe swinging away from hyper-realistic first-person, hyper-realistic graphics might be the right thing to do. Twisted Mirror Universe. This is apparently where they end up. Alright. Doesn't look terrible, although I'm not sure if this is a single player game or a online co-op game, or if it's a player versus player game or what. Let's see, attack with this, and you know what, just attack with that too. Take your pick. You can block with either one you want. It's not gonna change much for me. Actually, I'm actively looking for more things to die. I guess perhaps one thing you could take away from this, though, is the idea that there's less and less of a reason. Why? Oh, that was flying. That's why I couldn't block it. Perhaps Microsoft has realized that hyping people up for games when they're not going to be out for quite a long time isn't an effective use of your time or an effective way to promote games. And so a lot of games here being announced are probably going to be things that get released when the next Microsoft Scarlet console comes out in next year, and so there's no real good reason. Oh, seriously? Discard a card. If he attacks me again and I just have to discard this card, I'm gonna be a little upset. But it may not matter. Let's see. Okay. What are we attacking with? Everything? TechRaptor has an article here. New Don't Nod game, Tell Me Why, has been announced. This seems to be pretty much the same kind of Don't Nod, Life is Strange style game. The only thing I could say is that one of the art styles I saw here was this character looking directly at this character on side profiles, which makes me assume that these two are going to be somewhat adversarial. Twins explore the bond with one another as they discover and process memories of their childhood. Oh great, this is clearly they are definitely looking back on fondly, but they discover some troubling things too. So yeah, this is going to clearly be some kind of child abuse type thing that they're gonna cover. Let's just face it, that's exactly where this is going. There is a Netflix movie documentary called Tell Me Who I Am, where a guy gets amnesia, not insomnia. I have insomnia. A guy gets amnesia and doesn't remember any of his past, and his twin brother basically lies to him and tells him that they kind of had this perfect childhood that they really didn't, and it wasn't until years later that he realized there was quite a lot of abuse going on there. I really liked that documentary. It was shot in a very interesting way to show that you just don't kind of need all the flash you get in a lot of movies. Like, there's no quick cuts. There's nothing. Well, I kind of have to block this, don't I? I'm gonna lose, but I'm gonna kind of legitimately lose too. So I don't really hate that I'm losing here. All I can do is hope to win in this one turn, and I won't, so I've lost. Unless he just decides to not attack for some reason. Yeah, I have no faith that this game, Tell Me Why, is any better than any of the other. Any better than any of the other Don't Nod games. Although I will applaud them somewhat for having the characters be a little bit older and not being just teenagers. Two Canadian guys writing teenager stories. So you kind of have this adversarial way this is being depicted here. There's a trailer here. Kind of jump through. I think you get a third game from Don't Nod like this without there being any real attempt to change anything. And I don't even know if in this case Tell Me Why is going to be in the same universe as the Life is Strange universe, or if this is just them adapting adapting to the loss of Telltale games. Yeah, because it seems like they really are just trying to be the new Telltale games at this point. It's going to be 3 chapters released on a clear and predictable schedule, and yeah, not expecting much from it. I would say it's almost a perfect example of Life is Strange was beloved by mainstream video game journalism and then not particularly loved so much by people who actually bought the game or by people who didn't buy the game. So it wasn't like it was a major commercial success, and yet it got so much critical praise that fed into people. I don't know if Square Enix is still funding some of these Don't Nod games, but it certainly fed into the ego and the development concepts of future games, to the point where Don't Nod in maybe 3.5 years has released 3 games that are all just Life is Strange again. Or, well, 2 games in episodic ways. Let's try this again. 1 loss doesn't mean that my deck has a major flaw in it. I can't actually expect to win 100% of the time. And if we kind of rush here, we'll just be done with the stream. So again, just like 2 episodes. TechCraft has an article, The Artful to Escape beautifully blends music and color. Another game just being announced. It's kind of crazy to even bother with any of this, like looking at any of these games. I feel like this game was already in development and we'd already heard about this. Otherwise, there's another game that looks very similar to this. Yeah, and like so many other games, let's just wait until it actually comes out, and then we'll get some reviews, and then we'll make a real decision at that point. TechRaptor has an article. Kart Rider Drift comes to the West 15 years after its debut. So, yeah, I don't know why a game would come to Steam or consoles so late. There's nothing really terrible about this, so it feels like it has been polished or remastered in its graphics, and clearly it's just a Mario Kart clone. And surely there's a better Mario Kart game clone out there. Register for the beta now. Maybe this is a remake of an older game. I guess that might be the case. I guess they're saying that this series has been successful in the East in Japan for 15 years, and they finally have enough confidence to bring it over to the West. Gamatsu has an article for the PC and Xbox One. Bleeding Edge launches March 24th, 2020. This is like one of the few games that we actually have a announcement for. This is a Ninja Theory developed online brawler, kind of like an Overwatch clone. This was the one that had the release date leaked. It looks cool enough, but I don't know if that really means anything. Like, much like Overwatch and some of the other games, if you were going to get me as a audience, as a purchaser of your game or player of your game, you would have to put a major single player element to it. And even with the announcement of Overwatch 2.0, we still really haven't gotten any real story or single player experience that would have brought in a lot more people, I think, to play Overwatch, even if it was just a short introductory solo adventure. TechRaptor has an article here. Play as a fiery skull-headed gunslinger in West of Dead. Which, okay. Let's look at this. We're having one of these Magic the Gathering moments where the ult connector is not going to ever connect us to a game. I've gotten it down to about 2 minutes. If you wait more than 2 minutes, they should just kick you back out. But it doesn't really ever do that. I've seen this go up to like 50 minutes of just waiting. Apparently Ron Perlman is also going to be in the star of West of Dead. Let's see. Gamatsu has an article here. Path of Exile 2, Path of Exile Expansion, and Challenge League and Path of Exile Mobile have been announced. Sequel unlikely to start a beta until at least very late 2020. So Path of Exile, I believe, is the game that would be like the new Diablo. So if you're itching to play Diablo 4, I think you're better off playing Path of Exile 1, unless I'm just totally wrong about that. Yeah, it's the new Diablo. It's the one you should play. It's the one that doesn't have all that baggage. A 7-act storyline for Path of Exile 2 is coming out. And then also coming to mobile is probably a smart move. Experimental mobile version of Path of Exile complete is described as a complete Path of Exile game experience with no pay-to-win elements. There's also Path of Exile Metamorphed in the next Challenge League of Path of Exile, in which players can build their own boss duo out alongside the Conquerors of Atlas DLC. So yeah, I could see myself getting into Path of Exile and skipping some other Diablo-esque clones out there. I do want to play Torchlight 2, but if in my series of playing games like that, although I kind of do need like 6 months to a year between each Diablo-esque game just to get the bitter taste of all the grinding out of my mouth. That's not going to cancel. this cancel button never works. I could see covering Torchlight 2 and then jumping the Path of Exile and then never playing any of the old Diablo games again, or playing any of the new Diablo games. Yeah, and I think I could be perfectly happy with that. Gamma Sutra here has get a job. These studios are hiring environment, character, and concept artists. So environment artists for Sony PlayStation in San Diego, environment artists for Weaver in Venice, California, 3D character artist in Maryland Heights, Missouri, lead character artist in Bellevue, Washington, concept artist for PlayStation in San Diego, California. It's Sucker Punch in Bellevue, Washington, and a senior concept artist for Simutris Corp in Maryland Heights, Missouri. I probably covered all these jobs before, but they did sound somewhat new. TechRaptor has an article here. Minecraft Dungeons is coming in April. It'll be interesting to see what Minecraft Dungeons can be and what it is, because it looks pretty different, as we're just seeing this key creature. And is that all we're getting, is this little teaser? Yep, that's it. So just by the looks of this alone, it makes me feel like Minecraft Dungeons is not going to be very much like Minecraft at all, and people will probably not embrace it by much. Let's see. TechRaptor has an article, XO19, that was the announcement event where all of these announcements happened, announces enigmatic new game Last Stop. So the game's name is Last Stop from Annapurna Interactive, which I feel like Annapurna Interactive did something, but I don't remember what. Seems like there's 3 entangled stories, kind of like a Telltale game. Seems like all the talent that was making Telltale games have moved around. Yeah, and I'm not sure. Virginia was, I guess, the last game made by Annapurna Interactive, and that wasn't very well received by actual gamers, although Polygon seemed to love it. So, yeah, whatever you take from that. It probably means Last Stop isn't guaranteed to be good, but it doesn't mean it's guaranteed to be bad either. Next, TechRaptor has an article. Xbox Game Pass will get Project X Cloud streaming technology, according to XO19. XO19 stops making sense. XO barely makes any sense. It's like it's an Xbox Online event. So yeah, streaming service coming to the Game Pass. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. That's better than them splitting it up into its own thing. PAX, I don't even know when the next PAX is happening, but they tweeted out there's a bug in their app. Patch will coming out in a few days. As far as push notifications, I don't know why the PAX app would be putting out any push notifications. Anyways, TechRaptor has the same article. Halo Reach coming to the Xbox One and PC this December. Okay, cool. I don't think too many people care about Reach in particular. I could probably just leave the 4 or 5 games that are left on Steam to look at. We have the Deed 2 here, which is tagged an adventure horror RPG game. I believe the Deed 1 is on my fall list or the wish list, so that would be what are, I guess, the concerning factor here. $3.59 English only. It looks like it is kind of an RPG Maker game. let's see. Let's go here and see if we can find the Deed 1 as a game. The Deed Dynasty I already own. Oh, apparently I must have bought all of these really cheap at some point. So, yeah, I'll put this on the follow list once it comes out of early access. We'll reevaluate it there based on its reviews. Don't really have to do anything more. TechCrafter has an article. XO19 announces a console edition of Planet Coaster coming to Xbox, which, okay. I don't think too many people care about the roller coaster sim Planet Coaster, but might as well try to bring everything to every place. That's what they've been trying to do. TechRaptor has the same article here. Obsidian's new survival game Grounded announced. They have slightly different picture, 2 different pictures, and that's it. It's not a lot. Not a lot to show, and they're really going all over the place. We have a game on Steam here called Mass Plus, which looks like it is just a VR random assortment of circles supposed to represent atoms, I guess. It's $4.99. It's English only. Visually, it's boring, so there's not anything more that needs to be said on that. Let's see. Can I actually load something? Oh, yes. The Minecraft board game Builders and Biomes is out right now. If you have a kid who's still into Minecraft, this might interest them. Although I would warn that if you have a kid that's still into Minecraft, this is probably the last holiday season that they'll still be into Minecraft, and they probably have already moved on to something else or will move on to something else. Next, we have a game on Steam here called Snipers, which is just a player versus player Smash Brothers clone with guns. $9.99, English only. Nothing there of any interest to me. Well, it doesn't want to load, but Gamasutra had an article called How Neopets Have Influenced a Generation of Game Developers, which might have been an interesting skim. Yeah, here it is. Even if they did influence developers a long time ago, they've long since left relevancy, so this is kind of more of a nostalgia bait article than anything that would be informative or helpful in developing a new game or a modern game. Because even if there was a game you were making today that was influenced by Neopets, you would probably be more influenced by that new game, and it would have been an iteration on other influences. That's how influences work. It's influence on top of influence on top of influence. You don't go back to the source most of the time. Let's see. Komatsu has an article here. Fast-paced action adventure game Resolution is announced for consoles and PC, due out in 2020. This looks a lot like some of the other games I've seen that are top-down and kind of pixel graphics. I could easily mistake this for at least 2 other games I've already seen. Let's see. Is there anything in this trailer that would change my opinion on this? No, just kind of looks similar to things I've already seen. Top down, fast paced action, twin stick shooter. And if anything, it feels like it's a direct sequel to one of the games that I've already seen. And maybe it is. 15-minute wait time now. Of course, it's not really waiting, it's just bugged. Let's see. This is big news. Xbox boss Phil Spencer says Microsoft is still looking into studio acquisitions and interested in Asia. I would love to have more of an influence in our own first party team from Asian creators, which probably is a hint that they are close to signing a new Asian company, particularly if they could get a Japanese company and they're not talking about getting like an Indian company or Korean company or Chinese company. That would help Microsoft start to potentially have any kind of foothold in Japan where it kind of matters, in my opinion. Whereas if they just get a Chinese company, it doesn't really matter. Right? That would be probably bad. If they just get a Korean company, probably doesn't really matter. But they've specifically failed to get any influence in Japan, and by not having any influence in Japan, they've failed to make good relationships with third-party developers in Japan, to the point where you see a lot of games being PlayStation exclusives, not because Sony is incentivizing or paying people more, just because that's a Japanese company dealing with another Japanese company and thinking Xbox is a joke, because in Japan it is a joke. It doesn't sell even 50 units in a week. Moving on, we have a game on Steam here called Third Rule of the Universe, which is a space shooter. One of these fly around space shooting games. I like this little thumbnail, but the rest of the game does just look like you're just flying around and shooting things quite a lot. It's kind of like an asteroids game. $10.49 English only. Nothing of interest there. And we're gonna go a little long, but not that long. Next, we have a game on Steam called Between Two Castles Digital Edition, which seems like it's a Tiny Towers clone or Fallout Shelter clone. Doesn't look terrible. I don't know if I'd ever want to play this style of game. It's $11.69, a bunch of languages. I'll put this on the follow list and we'll see if anybody likes it. It is doing something slightly different by making them castles instead of Fallout Shelter, where it's just Fallout Shelter and or the Tiny Towers games in the clones there, where it's just modern day buildings. But it really would just be the same concepts over and over again. So reception will definitely affect my interest on that. Next, we have a game on Steam called Duplicity. This is apparently a female protagonist visual novel with LGBTQ+. I wonder if there's different tags if you don't have the plus, or if you don't have the Q, or if you just go LGB, or if it all just moves together. I haven't seen any other game tagged that way, and there's plenty of Japanese visual novels where it's girl on girl action or guy on guy action, and so that this might be a new tag. Now visually the graphics here don't look particularly good. It's this cheap like marker comic book style that Western animators often do because they can't really draw, and the backgrounds seem to be pretty reused, and the game doesn't seem particularly interesting. It's $9.99. I don't like the name being called Duplicity because that's potentially a hint that this is a bad game, and the creator is being duplicitous. It's English only without audio, which is the one thing, if you're going to make a Western visual novel, you could stand out by just having your friends voice act the things. Even if the voice acting is terrible, still would be better than not having voice acting. Let's see. Gamatsu has the Artful Escape launches on the Xbox One and Apple Arcade. I didn't realize this was also going to Apple Arcade. So a little bit more information. I'm just going to kind of quickly point out that Magic the Gathering Arena has their historic rollout article here from November 13th that is adding like 10 cards to history, to historic, if you're interested in what those cards are. Seems like they are some of the cards I've seen people play. That doesn't, I think, mean that they're leaving standard. I just think it means that historic as a mode in Arena is being improved upon. And that's not 10 cards that they're even showing, so they must name some other cards. I guess it doesn't really matter for me, though. Like, the idea that I would play historic would be insane, since I don't have any historic cards. Let's see, Komatsu has the same article here. The free-to-play game Kart Rider Drift has been announced for the Xbox One and PC. I guess maybe that's why it took 15 years for it to come over as a series, is that it's free-to-play. Or maybe they had to bring it over as free-to-play in the West, and it's not free-to-play. Otherwise, Komatsu has the same article about West of the Dead launching for the PS4, Xbox One, Switch, and PC. So, yeah, we're getting a lot of duplicate articles, but we only have like 5 more tabs. TechRaptor has Everwild as a beautiful, serene game from Rare, and they have like one more picture, and that's that. See, TechRaptor has an article here. Wasteland 3 release date finally announced. When is it? See, May 19th, 2020. And I don't know if I would play the Wasteland series. It's another one of these real-time strategy games that maybe is one worth playing. I think it's a real-time strategy game and not an XCOM style game. It might be an XCOM style game. Party-based role-playing game. Yeah, that's closer to an XCOM style game then. And if I'm going to play an XCOM style game, I probably should play XCOM. Gamasutra has an article here. Bungie raises $1.6 million for charity through the Game to Give pledge drive. Yeah, I'm sure that will be a nice little tax break write-off for them. Again, don't donate to companies so that they can donate to charities and write off their own taxes. Next, we have a game on Steam here called Mr. Hop's Playhouse, which is a free-to-play strategy horror game, is what's tagged as, but what it looks like to me is kind of a low-effort MS Paint graphics, dark screenshot syndrome. They've got a little bit of everything in this, don't they? Garbage game, English full audio, it says. Don't even free-to-play, not worth playing. Doesn't even have like in-app purchases, so I don't know why they even bother putting these games on Steam. And that puts me at the Humble Bundle. And let's see. Let's look at the Humble Bundles and see if we've got any new games. I'm going to just reload the page just to make sure I'm seeing all the new things. I suspect not. Like, we're so close to Black Friday, it would be kind of silly to come out with anything new. And if there's any newer bit of news, I imagine all of that information could just be talked about on Monday. So that's going to be it for this series, and more often it seems like we are ending these series with with Magic just sitting here like this. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and watch every second of my videos. If you want a friend to follow me on any social media sites, there is a whole bunch of links down below in the description box. And if you want to support me even further, there's a link to Patreon, or you can friend me on Steam and gift me a game off my wishlist. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.